So you're staring at your lathe, thinking it's time to do more than just turn parts you want to mill, drill, and maybe even cut a keyway without buying a whole new machine. That's where the Proxxon 34104 mill/drill head PF230 comes in. It's not a standalone mill, but it's the closest thing to turning your existing lathe into a mini machining center. The big question is whether it's worth the money and the setup hassle. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing you'll notice is that this isn't a plug-and-play solution. You're bolting a milling head onto a lathe that wasn't originally designed for it, so expect some trial and error. The column size is 1 3/8 inches by 15 3/4 inches, which gives you enough travel for small parts, but don't expect to mill a chunky aluminum block. It's really meant for precision work on softer materials like brass, aluminum, or plastics. If you're used to a rigid Bridgeport-style mill, this will feel flimsy in comparison. But if you're a hobbyist or small shop machinist who already owns a lathe and only needs occasional milling, it's a practical way to expand your capabilities without breaking the bank. One of the strongest reasons to buy this is if you already have the Proxxon PD 250/E lathe. The two are designed to work together, so the fit and alignment are already accounted for. You won't have to jury-rig a mounting solution or worry about the head shifting mid-cut. That alone saves you a ton of frustration. Another plus is the German build. Proxxon isn't a budget brand, so the components feel solid, and the assembly instructions are clear enough that you won't need a machinist's degree to get it running. It's not going to replace a full CNC setup, but for someone who wants to dabble in milling without a second dedicated machine, it's a smart compromise. Now, let's talk about where this setup falls short. The biggest trade-off is rigidity. Because you're mounting a milling head on a lathe spindle, the whole assembly flexes more than a dedicated mill. That means you can't push heavy cuts or use large end mills without chatter. If you're used to machining steel or doing production work, this will frustrate you. Even aluminum can be tricky if you're not careful with feed rates. Another issue is the limited Z-axis travel. The column is long, but the actual vertical movement is constrained, so you're limited to shallow cuts or small workpieces. If you're milling something taller than a few inches, you might need to rethink your setup. Who should buy this? If you're a hobbyist with a Proxxon PD 250/E who occasionally needs to mill a flat surface, drill a hole off-center, or cut a slot, this is a great tool. It's also a solid choice if you're on a budget and don't want to invest in a full milling machine. The German engineering means it'll last, and the conversion is straightforward enough that you won't waste weeks trying to make it work. But if you're a professional or even a serious DIYer who needs to mill steel or handle larger parts, this isn't the right fit. You'd be better off saving up for a dedicated mill or a more rigid setup. The real value here isn't in replacing a milling machine, it's in extending the life of your lathe. If you already own the PD 250/E, this head turns it into a hybrid machine that can handle light milling tasks without cluttering your shop with another tool. Just don't expect it to perform like a proper mill. The rigidity issues and limited travel mean it's best for small, precise jobs. If that matches your needs, it's a worthwhile investment. If not, you might end up disappointed. So, is the Proxxon 34104 mill/drill head PF230 worth it? For the right buyer, absolutely. For everyone else, it's a tool that solves a very specific problem. If you've got the lathe and the need, give it a shot. Link is in the description if you want to check the details.